Chiori just got leaked, and I bet you're dying to hear what she does. Well, let's get right into it. Let's start with her base kit. What is Chiori trying to accomplish here? Chiori is a dual attack and defense scaling elemental skill damage dealer. Her ascension stat is crit rate, and her weapon type is sword. Wait, that sounds familiar. Well, that'd be right. You know Albedo? Yeah, kinda like that. Her normal attacks are going to be nothing special. Are they useless? I can't really tell. They did invest enough into them to give her an infusion, so my bet is you just might use these? I don't expect it to happen much though. Next, the meat and potatoes of the kit. Her skill. She summons a puppet, and then she does an upward slash. If there's a geo construct, another puppet is created. These puppets are going to deal geo damage over time. Its attacking speed is quite slow, but these things can hit for quite some good damage. The damage will range between 25k to 40k depending on the team you're using. Sounds low when you remember Albedo. It's not over yet. Just wait for the first Ascension passive. The burst is real simple. It's just a big hit. Big ol' nuke. Just doing some large damage. What more do you want from me? This thing's damage is not low, it can dish out more than 125k, but it really is just simple. It's got a 60 energy cost, so some ER might be needed for this to be consistent. Now, next up, the Ascension one. Why is the text so long? When the second hit of her E-cast is done, you either press your skill again, or you normal attack. Kinda like Nilou's skill. If you choose to press your skill again, you swap characters and your teammates will be able to trigger a coordinated attack. This can be triggered up to 2 times, and does the same damage as the final hit of her E. And then there's the second part. This is the infusion. It lasts for 5 seconds. Not that long, eh? If you choose to sit still and do nothing after using the skill, this is going to be the one that triggers automatically. Now finally, her Ascension 4. This one is simple. When a construct is spawned, Chiori gets 20% geo damage for 20 seconds. Finally, something that doesn't give me a brain aneurysm. It seems quite obvious to me that her skill and burst are to be leveled first, specifically her skill. Her normal attacks look like an afterthought. Now to get into her constellations. Chiori's first constellation might be the thing that saves her for a lot of people. Her skill's range is increased by 50%, but that's not all. When Chiori is used with a second Geo character, her E will create a second puppet and activate her Ascension 4 automatically. This basically allows you to use C0 Chiori's kit with Navia. It's honestly quite tempting for me, not gonna lie. And oh my god, can C2s please not be an essay! Okay, so for 8 seconds after triggering her Ascension 1 passive, attacking an enemy will allow you to spawn a super puppet. This super puppet can attack once or exist for 3 seconds. That can be only one at a time, so it's not too OP, and it can only be created up to 3 times. Now for the C4. For 10 seconds after using Chiori's burst, her super puppet gets created once every 3 seconds automatically. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. This gives said super puppet 100% uptime. Well, not exactly 100% uptime, but pretty close. It's a pretty large damage increase. And now, C6, we have a classic, turning an off-fielder into a DPS. When you infuse her weapon, her skill cooldown is reduced to the point where you can play her like Navia, where you have your E, infusion, E, and then infusion again. But that's not it. Obviously her normal attacks are going to get buffed. Since we don't have her normal attacks multipliers or animations yet, I can't calculate this constellation. But I predict it's going to be on a similar power level to Shen Yun, who is another support character who gets turned into a DPS through her constellations. And when it comes to a new 5-star character, we always have to discuss their signature weapon. This looks like a pretty damn good weapon, but not really when you look more into it. It's a big crit damage stick with a minimum base attack, and when the wielder is on field you get 16% normal and charge attack damage bonus. When you're off field, you get 24% skill damage. When your team members do geo damage, these effects are doubled, while also giving 20% defense. Yeah, the problem here seems obvious. It looks like a pretty cool weapon, but nothing crazy. It can be a pretty niche option in geo teams, like maybe how Farina and a Navia team, but honestly the passive just ruins it for me. If you made it this far, you seem to be interested in my content, so subscribe and like if you do. so we don't actually know Chiori's particle generation. But if I had to guess, we'd be looking at 3 to 4 particles here. This means that practically her ER requirements are not looking to go over 200%, which is good. She's designed to be played with second Geo, which automatically lowers her requirements. For artifact sets, she has multiple options. For her damage, Husk and Nighttime Whispers are the best. Nighttime Whispers does beat Husk, but it's conditional, so some people may not enjoy the hassle. And then a supportive option. She can hold Tenacity, because of course she can. But she's not going to get 100% uptime on it, because the buff's duration is 3 seconds, and her interval is 3.6 seconds. There is the coordinated attack, but you can't really rely on that if you want to get consistent uptime. And now finally, for her teams. This is where my problems with her are. Her kit actively locks her into using a Geo construct, which means that for her teams, you're left with Ito and a double Geo core. Ito is notoriously mid, and we can't have Chiori doing too much damage because otherwise she'd just be broken. So she's kind of just tacked onto a shit team, which, is not exactly breaking the 70k DPS barrier, which isn't exactly good if you ask me. And then there's a double Geo core. Name me literally any team that would want a double Geo core, or just, better yet, a team that would prefer a double Geo core over literally anything else. How about instead of going double Geo, you could use double Pyro with Bennett Xiangling, or you can use double Hydro with Farina Yalan, or maybe even Xingqiu Yalan. Hell, fuck it. Like, what the fuck? You really can't go right with Chiori here. And, you could maybe slot her into a Navia team, but why? Why would you specifically pull Chiori for that? It's not a massive increase over the current options. It's barely an increase, if at all. So, this is perhaps one of the most disappointing characters in Genshin for me recently. I was banking on this unit being the thing that pushed Navi into being a top tier. But no, it's over. If it were up to me, the construct gimmick would be entirely removed and be replaced by something else. Just have her always spawn 2 puppets, and then buff Geo damage. That would still make her tailored towards Geo comps, without making her a restrictive mess of a character. I'm sad, I'm mad, and I'm waiting for buffs. Peace.